It started 3 weeks ago. Every night at exactly 11:47 p.m., I would look out my bedroom window and see a figure standing at the edge of my yard. Just standing there, still as a statue, staring up at my window. I called the police 4 times. 4 times they came, 4 times they found nothing. But on the 5th night, the night I finally decided to go outside myself, I found something in the grass where it always stood. A photograph, a recent one, of me, sleeping. My name is Ryan. I'm 26 years old and I live alone in a small rented house on the edge of a quiet suburb. 1 road in, 1 road out. The nearest neighbor is about 400 meters away. I chose this place specifically because I liked the quiet. I liked being away from people. I don't feel that way anymore. It started on a Thursday night 3 weeks ago. I'd been in bed reading around midnight when I got that feeling, the specific, primal, deeply uncomfortable feeling of being watched. I don't know if you've experienced it, but your body knows it before your brain does. The hairs on your arms stand up, your stomach tightens, some ancient part of you that predates language sends up a flare. I looked up from my book. Then, almost against my will, I looked at the window. My bedroom window faces the backyard. I keep the curtain half open because I like to see the sky at night. There's a security light on the back wall that triggers with motion, but beyond its reach, the yard fades into darkness, and then into the open field behind my property. The security light was on. And at the very edge of its reach, right where the light dissolved into darkness, there was a figure. It was tall, dressed in dark clothing, standing completely unnaturally still, the way a person stands when they are trying very hard not to be seen moving, not when they've simply stopped to look at something. There is a difference. This was the deliberate stillness of someone who did not want me to know they were breathing. I grabbed my phone and called the police. They were there within 20 minutes. 2 officers, flashlights, the whole yard checked. The field beyond checked. The road out front checked. Nothing. Nobody. The officer who took my statement was polite but clearly unconvinced. He said it might have been a deer or a fox catching the light in a strange way. He said the mind plays tricks at night, especially when you live alone and it's quiet. I thanked him and locked my door and didn't sleep until sunrise. The next night, at 11:47 p.m., the figure was back. Same spot, same stillness, same dark clothing. This time I had my phone ready and I took a photo through the window before I called. The image was grainy. Phone cameras and low light are not a great combination, but you could see it. A shape. A person. Standing exactly where I'd seen it the night before. The police came again. Again, nothing. I showed the officer my photo. He studied it for a moment and said it was difficult to make out clearly. He said it could be a person, yes, but it could also be a shadow or a post or any number of things. He said if it happened again, I should document it and consider installing security cameras. He said it in the tone of a man who is trying to be kind while privately concluding that the person in front of him was a little bit unhinged. I went back inside. I installed a camera app on a spare tablet and propped it facing the back window. I set it to record continuously from 11 p.m. onwards. Night 3, 11:47 p.m. The figure was there again, and the tablet recorded every second of it. 22 minutes. That's how long it stood there that 3rd night. 22 minutes, motionless, facing my window. At 12:09 a.m., it simply turned and walked into the darkness of the field and was gone. I watched that footage 12 times. I sent it to 2 friends and asked them what they saw. Both said the same thing without me prompting them. A person standing in your yard, watching your house. I sent the footage to the police. A different officer called me back the next morning. His tone was considerably more serious than the first 2 who'd visited. He said they'd send a patrol car to sit on the road outside my property for a few nights and see what they could find. They sat out there for 3 nights. The figure didn't come on any of those 3 nights. The patrol stopped after night 3. The figure came back on night 4. I want to describe what it felt like, those nights of lying in bed knowing it was out there, knowing that something was standing in my yard in the dark, watching my windows, watching me move around inside my own home. The way it made every light feel insufficient, the way it made the walls feel thin, the way it turned my house, my safe, chosen, deliberately isolated house, into something that felt like a trap. I stopped sleeping properly. I started leaving every light on. I bought a baseball bat and kept it next to my bed. And then came night 11. Night 11, I decided I'd had enough. I don't entirely know what made that night different from the others. Maybe exhaustion, maybe anger finally overtaking fear. At 11:52 p.m., 5 minutes after the figure appeared, I got out of bed, picked up the baseball bat, and went to my back door. My hands were shaking. My heart was going so fast I could feel it in my throat. I opened the door and stepped outside. The security light blazed on. The yard was empty. The field beyond was dark and silent. The figure was gone. I stood there in the cold for a moment, feeling equal parts relieved and foolish. Then I walked toward the spot where it always stood, the exact patch of grass at the edge of the light's reach. I looked down. There was something in the grass. A photograph, printed on standard photo paper, slightly damp from the night air. I picked it up and held it under the security light. It was a photograph of me, taken from outside, through my bedroom window. I was lying in bed, on my side, eyes closed. I was asleep in the photograph. The angle, the framing, the way the curtain was visible at the edge, it had been taken from exactly the spot where I was standing, from exactly the spot where the figure always stood. It had been inside my yard, right outside my window, close enough to photograph me sleeping through the glass, and it had left this here for me to find. I called the police from my backyard, standing under the security light, holding that photograph with 2 fingers because some part of me understood it was evidence and needed to be preserved. This time they took it seriously. Forensics examined the photograph. It had been printed recently, within the past week. No fingerprints on it other than mine from when I'd picked it up from the grass. The image itself had been taken on a phone camera, good quality, through glass, which meant whoever took it had been standing very close to my window. They began a proper investigation. They've canvassed the area. They've looked at local registered sex offenders and persons of interest. They've reviewed whatever camera footage exists from nearby roads, though there isn't much given how isolated my house is. They have no suspect yet. I've moved out temporarily. I'm at my brother's place, sleeping on his couch, which is both embarrassing and the best I've felt in 3 weeks. But here's the thing I keep coming back to. The thing that won't leave me alone even here, safe with my brother in the next room. I've been through all the footage I recorded on that tablet, every night from night 1 to night 11. Hours and hours of dark, quiet backyard footage. And on night 7, a night I had marked as uneventful because when I checked the window at midnight, the yard was empty, I found something in the footage I hadn't noticed before. The figure is there, arriving at 11:47 p.m. as always, standing in its usual spot. But at 12:09 a.m., it doesn't walk away into the field. It walks toward the house. It walks up to my back door. And then the footage does something I cannot explain. 15 seconds of pure static, signal interference, and when it clears, the figure is gone and the yard is empty. 15 seconds. I was asleep inside that house for 15 seconds while something stood at my back door. I've had the door examined. There are marks on the lock, fresh ones. It tried to get in, and I don't know if, on night 7, while I slept and the camera fuzzed out for 15 seconds, I don't know if it succeeded. Check your windows tonight before you go to sleep. And if you see something standing in the dark, don't go outside. New AI horror story every single day. Subscribe so you never miss one, and comment below, what would you have done on night 11?